Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulihil Kareem. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Actually, this episode is the continuation of the previous one about the concept of hikmah that is explained in the Surah Bani Israel, the 17th chapter of the Quran. Already I told you that there are 14 important hikmah points in a particular passage. It is from verse number 22 to 39 of the 17th chapter. The first seven of which we have covered in our previous episode. Let us recollect the same right now. So what are the first 7 hikmah points? Do you remember? One, that you shall not worship none but him. Number 1. Number 2, that you behave excellently with your parents. Number 3, that you give the relative their rights and the poor and the wayfarer. That you do not squander wastefully. Number 4. Number 5, that you dignify all human beings. That is, say to them only words of comfort even if you cannot give them something. Number 6, that you should have a balance in spending. And the 7th one is that you do not kill your children for fear of poverty. That is about abortion. Now let us continue from here. So the 8th point that appears in the verse 32 of the surah, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولا تقربوا الزنا إنه كان فاحشة وساء سبيلا. And do not come near adultery, it is immoral and an evil way. So that means all types of extramarital relationship are prohibited, in the sense that you do not go near the zina. You have to wala taqrabu, you have to note this point, wala taqrabu zina. Here is the point of hikmah. This includes intermingling of sexes, having boyfriend or girlfriend, because these are the steps with which shaitan moves anyone towards that illegal relationship. Wala tattabi'u khutuwati shaitan, Allah Ta'ala mentioned in some other places. And one more important point that I would like to insist here is about the pornography. Especially I have to warn my youth regarding this. Many scholars, psychologically and physically to spiritually, ethically, it's a very bad habit of indulging in such types of watching pornographic images. Even the so-called practicing Muslims fall short of this and spoil themselves. This is against hikmah, because if you indulge in such a type of as I told you, that is the footsteps of shaitan, you spoil your personality, you spoil your youth, you spoil your future, and you spoil your chastity too. Then after that, throughout your remaining life, how much ever you feel for that, that would not go, that would remain in your memory all the time, which will put you psychological pressure all the time. So that's why impulsively, if you fall into this trap, then that's why Allah Ta'ala includes this point as a part of hikmah. Don't lose this. It's a very important hikmah point for the youth. And this is the 8th one. 9th one is that you do not kill any soul. That is, murder is prohibited in Islam. وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا النَّفْسَ الَّتِي حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ إِلَّا بِالْحَقِّ. Do not kill the soul which Allah Ta'ala has made sacred, except in the course of justice, that is by the government. So the corollary of this hikmah point is to save lives. Saving lives is one of the higher objectives of our maqasid sharia. So rather than thinking of taking away the life, Muslims are supposed to save the lives of people even in this corona situation. A very important hikmah point indeed. Verse number 33. Verse number 34, that you do not misuse orphans' rights. See how Allah Ta'ala considers the rights of the weaker section, the orphans. Sometimes they may not be able to manage their own wealth. Then as matured people, you may be asked to look after their wealth. Allah Ta'ala says, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا مَالَ الْيَتِيمِ. وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا مَالَ الْيَتِيمِ. Don't go near the property of the orphans, except with the best of intentions until he has reached his maturity. Honor your pledge. If you have promised something to take care of the wealth of these orphans or other poor people, you have to honor your pledge, because the pledge involves responsibility. That means you are accountable before Allah Ta'ala. So this is the 10th point. 11th point is keeping the promise, especially again for the weaker section. So we will discuss when we discuss about Luqman alayhi salam also, the same point we will discuss there also. Number 12 is that you follow the business ethics. Awful kaila idha kiltum wazinu bil qistasil mustaqim. That means, and give full measure when you measure, and weigh with accurate scales, that is fair and the best determination. So in modern day business, we need to do a lot of research in this area. A new fiqh, a new understanding we need. Scholars say and insist this point, as every business, every transaction has become complex in these times. But however, business ethics is part of our hikmah that you should keep it in mind. Number 13 is a very important one regarding the hikmah, that you do not follow something that you have no knowledge of. A very, very important hikmah. And do not occupy yourself with what you have no knowledge of. Verse number 36. Better keep quiet. If you have no knowledge, better keep quiet. Then we will discuss about the slander affair during the lifetime of Prophet ﷺ in Medina against his wife Aisha, Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala. We will discuss later, inshallah. And insight here is, if you want to interfere in some endeavor, some problem solving endeavor about which you don't have any knowledge, try to gather all the relevant facts about the matter. Till then, don't involve. Only then you can involve in that said affair. Only you are able to acquire all the correct facts about the matter. Hikmah or wisdom is the application of the right knowledge at the right time to a particular issue. So this verse gives the insight of, so you are not supposed to do haphazardly without proper knowledge. We will discuss later. We will discuss more about this later also. And the last one which I would like to remind you is the 14th point, that is verse number 37 of 17th chapter, that you do not be arrogant. It is called kibr. Rather practice humility. And do not walk proudly on earth. Wala tamshi fil arli marha. It is again repeated in Surah Al-Luqman. And do not walk proudly on earth. You can neither pierce the earth nor can you match the mountains in height. So in verse number 38, Allah Ta'ala dislikes all these misbehaviors. Kullu dhalika kana sayyatun inda rabbika makruha. The evil of all this is disliked by your heart. Only after this, in verse number 39, as I explained to you before, this is some of the wisdom your Lord has revealed to you. And finally, when Allah Ta'ala concludes this passage, again from the same point with which he started, he concludes, do not set up with Allah another God, or else you will be thrown in hell, rebuked and banished. So this is the end of this passage. So as I told you, all the if you consider all the 14 points, the starting point is do not associate partnership with Allah. The ending point, do not associate partnership with Allah. All the remaining are related to human relations. Now let us take the second passage, as I mentioned before, chapter number 31, from verse number 12 to verse number 19. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد آتينا لقمان الحكمة أن يشكر لله ومن يشكر فإنما يشكر لنفسه ومن كفر فإن الله غني حميد. And indeed we granted this wisdom unto Luqman, be grateful unto God. For he who is grateful unto him is but grateful for the good of his own self, whereas he chooses to be ungrateful or to know that verily God is self-sufficient, ever to be praised. So the insight from this, before entering into the hikmah points exactly, that Luqman alayhi salam taught his own son, even in the first verse, that is verse number 12, you please look at. That is showing gratitude is an important hikmah that we learn from Hadrat Luqman al-Hakim. Anishkuru lillah. Gratitude to Allah. The verse says to show gratitude to Allah. The question is, at the outset, So the very first point is, why should we be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Think about it. Let me ask you a question. When will you thank a person? You can immediately say that whenever somebody does some favor to us, gives something to us, then we'll be thankful to them. So indirectly Allah Ta'ala says, you be thankful to Allah means think of the blessings which I have provided to you, the ni'mah. Only when we think about all the ni'mah, the blessings that Allah has provided, the attitude of shukr will develop. So what is the outcome of this attitude? The result is whenever you think of the positive side of yourself, whenever you think of the blessings which Allah Ta'ala has given you, you will think about yourself in a positive way. A scholar says, one scholar explains this way: thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what He is giving you, not to think about what is missing in you. Don't see the negative things. Don't think of what you don't have. Rather than you think of what you have already provided by Allah Ta'ala. Then you will be thankful to Allah, number one. Number two, you will develop a positive attitude about yourself. Then you will develop confidence, self-confidence. So not to look at yourself through your weaknesses, but look at yourself through your potential powers, the scholar says. And Allah Ta'ala mentions the attitude of gratitude is for our own benefit. So connect this point with verse number 269, as well as surah number 14, verse number 7. That means if you are thankful to Allah Ta'ala, Allah Ta'ala says, وَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ, verse number 7 of Surah Ibrahim 14.7. That means Allah Ta'ala will increase. In verse number 269 of Surah Al-Baqarah, then the khair, the best is given to you abundantly. This is a hikmah. If you have hikmah, then you will acquire the khair from Allah Ta'ala abundantly. So shukr is the very important, that is having an attitude of gratitude, It's very essential. Even in Western psychology, they insist a lot about for your mental well-being. Having gratitude is a very important psychological factor. Let us go to the advices of Hazrat Luqman to his own son. وَإِذْ قَالَ لُقْمَانُ لِابْنِهِ وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ يَا بُنَيَّ لَا تُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ. So you compare this passage with the passage that we already discussed. There also Allah Ta'ala talked about don't associate partnership. And the very first advice Luqman alayhi salam has given to his own son is La tushrik billah. Don't associate. Do not associate anything with Allah Ta'ala. For idolatry is a terrible wrong. Dhulmun azim. So why? Because again, shirk is a form of ingratitude. Very simple. In chapter number 17 also we had the same point. Number 2, ihsan to parents. There also we have discussed about this wabil walidaini ihsana in verse number 23 of surah 17. Here in verse number 14, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا عَلَى وَهْنٍ وَفِصَالُهُ فِي عَامَيْنِ أَنِ اشْكُرْ لِي وَلِوَالِدَيْكَ. You think of how Allah Ta'ala puts the words. Anishkuruli, you be grateful to me. Vali walidayka, you be thankful to your Parent. Allah Ta'ala, you brings anyone's parents next to himself. You be gratitude to me by thinking about the blessings which I have showered upon you. Then think about your parents, what they themselves suffered for yourself. So Allah Ta'ala explains this. And lower to them, they're also we are expected to make dua for Rabbir Kama Rabbayani Sigra, verse number 24 of chapter number 17. Why should we ask dua? It's a form of gratitude again. There, so combine the verses from Surah Al-Bani Israel as well as Surah Al-Luqman. Then you will be able to appreciate the importance of these hikmah points more and more. And again, in this passage, that is in chapter number 31, ihsan to parents, excellent way of behavior with the parents is conditional. For example, there are two things we discussed. One is shirk, associating partnership. The second one is we have to be behaving excellently with our parents. But the question is, if our parents ourselves ask us to associate partnership with Allah Ta'ala, do not obey. Allah Ta'ala says, obey them not. This is hikmah. So from this we can also infer that, for example, marriage issues, for example, after marriage, your mother may interfere in your own marriage affairs. So that means it is a right of your own wife and yourself, the marriage. It's a contract. But don't allow your parents to interfere unnecessarily. You need not obey your mother. But it has created a lot of problems with our Muslim society culturally, locally. And verse number 17, let us go. In one verse itself, Allah Ta'ala talks about 3 points. Number 1 is Salah. Number 2 is a hikmah point. Number 4 is enjoy good and prohibit evil. Number 5 is sabr. Ya bunayya aqimis salata wa'amur bil ma'rufi wa anha 'anil munkari wasbir 'ala ma asabak inna dhalika min azmil umur. That's actually, these are the advices by Luqman alayhi salam to his son. But you have to think of, let me clarify one important thing. Already in our previous episode, I told you that the hikmah you should learn only from Allah, from the revelation, from the prophets of Allah. But here we talk about Luqman, who is not a prophet. So how can you understand this? So this either Luqman alayhi salam would have learned from some other previous prophet. Because how can he say that Aqimis Salah to his own son without the knowledge shared by a prophet? Likewise, enjoining good and prohibit evil, it is the duty of the prophets, as well. Verse number 157 of Surah 7. Allah Ta'ala mentions that it is the duty of a prophet to enjoin good and prohibit evil. So if you think of the advices given by Luqman alayhi salam, definitely you can say that Luqman alayhi salam would have learned all these things from a previous prophet's guidelines. That you should keep in mind. Salat is hikmat point, enjoining good and prohibit. Again, you can infer again one more. What is enjoining good and prohibit evil? As we discussed before, all the problems created by the human interpersonal relationships. Enjoin good there, prohibit evil there. Very simple. And in this process, you have to develop sabr. Sabr is another hikmah point. That means being not emotional, being able to regulate your own emotion. Where there we talked about shukr, a positive attitude. Here we talk about sabr. Shukr and sabr both are psychological, necessary for psychological well-being. So this is verse number 17. And verse number 18. Again, Allah Ta'ala talks about, there also we talked about not being arrogant with the people. Here, that you do not treat people with arrogance. The same, wala tamshi fil arli maraha. And do not treat people with arrogance, nor walk proudly on earth. Allah does not love the arrogant show-offs. Verse number 18. There, verse number 37 of Surah 17, wala tamshi fil arli maraha. That means kibr is against hikmah. Rather than humility is a part of hikmah. You understand this point? And now the seventh in this passage is balance in walking. Here also Luqman alayhi salam talks about balance. There also we discussed about balance in spending. And moderate your stride and lower your voice. The most repulsive of voices is the donkey's voice. Even in speaking, even in communication skill, you have to be moderate. There Allah Ta'ala says, do not keep your hand tied to your neck, nor spread it out fully, lest you end up liable and liable. So balance in general is portrayed as hikmah. So this is very important point. So all the 14 I have told you, as I told you, all these things, please consider this a part of your own life's hikmah. Try to practice. We will explore more in our next episode also. The insights from this hikmah. In the next, we will consider so many other things are indirectly. How can we learn hikmah from the Quran in the next episode? And we will explore more about hikmah slowly. Till then, take care of your family and other interpersonal relationship. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.